All right, ladies and gentlemen, I had a hiccup in my Thor News, Save Thor News fundraiser for March. We're now about $80 to $100 away from keeping Thor News up and running for the month. That's fantastic news with 11 hours to go. And so now I am back in action, as I think I have things fixed for now. And I'm talking to you about a massive volcano eruptions 66 million years ago. Happened almost exactly when the dinosaurs died off. I don't know if you know this. Volcanoes can affect things. And I would bet that all the gas giants were on the same side when that happened. Okay. Everyone knows an asteroid strike wiped out the dinosaurs, right? You know, I don't know that for a fact. It's something we guessed about, but because it was 66 million years ago, who can really say, man? You can't even get people to agree on what happened 3 days ago. It's like Rashomon everywhere. So, I mean, I'm not going to argue with it. It's not a hill that I'm going to die on. But sure, for now, for the story, we'll go with it. Lots of evidence shows that Chicxulub impact event had terrible consequences for the dinosaurs. But the picture is a little more complicated than that. Extreme volcanic activity may have contributed to the extinction. Whoa. And now I gotta say, even though I think we're going to see a volcano eruption in California in the very near future, I don't think it's going to make us extinct, and I don't think it's going to be a super volcano eruption. Does that make you feel better? Okay, great. At the end of the Cretaceous period, about 66 million years ago, the dinosaurs went extinct. You've said that already. Are you padding this thing? Is this a short article? And not just the dinosaurs. About 75% of all plants and animals went extinct. Avian dinosaurs survived. It's because anybody or anything that can get high when times are turbulent has a good chance of survival. At the same time, a massive asteroid or comet slammed into Earth's Yucatan peninsula in present-day Mexico, called Chicxulub impact event. It clouded the atmosphere with water vapor and with particularly long-lasting dust due to the structure and type of rock at the impact site. That is fascinating. It's been easy to conclude that Chicxulub caused the extinction. There's a lot of evidence beyond the impact site itself. First of all, the extinction itself is called the Cretaceous Paleogene extinction, K-PG extinction, because it marked the end of the Cretaceous era and the beginning of the Paleogene period. It also called the Cretaceous Tertiary extinction. And if I'm pronouncing any of these words incorrectly, I'm probably doing it for comedic effect. Because you know what? You need a little humor when something is so doomy, and this qualifies as doom because it wiped out 75% of all the species on the planet. And here are all the eras, and it would be neat to see all the formations of the planets at the time, but we don't get that. The geological record contains a sediment layer from about 66 million years ago called KPG boundary. The KPG boundary is present in both marine and terrestrial rocks around the world. It contains lots of metal iridium, which is rare on Earth, but abundant in asteroids. The conclusion, and man, they love iridium. That's what your satellites are made out of, and it's a pretty precious metal. Iridium, where gold and silver have gotten a lot of the jawboning, iridium has actually done really well. The conclusion is that Chicxulub impact spread iridium into the atmosphere globally, and it's now preserved in the geology of Earth, a kind of smoking gun for the impact event. There you go. But there's growing evidence that the volcanic eruptions contributed to the mass extinction 66 million years ago. And that evidence comes from a rock formation called the Deccan Traps. That's where trap music came from. A new study strengthens the link between the KPG extinction and the volcanic activity that caused the Deccan Traps. The Deccan Traps is a region in India known as a large, igneous province. I wonder if there's a volcano in Australia. It's one of the largest volcanic features on Earth. The traps are multiple layers of basaltic lava, and altogether they're more than 2 kilometers thick. The Deccan Traps cover an area of 500,000 kilometers per square mile. Although at one time they covered as much as 1.5 million square kilometers. The volume of the lava is 1 million cubic kilometers. The name traps come from the Swedish word trappa, which means stairs. And why is my toolbar... I had to reset my whole computer. Why is my toolbar freaking out? Need to put my... There's more to these traps than rock, though. The amount of volcanic activity required to create the Deccan Traps would have polluted the atmosphere with poisonous gases. Whoa. Now to geoscientists from Princeton University. See? It's not supposed to do that. Hackers, why are you always messing with me? What is it about me? Why am I such a hacker magnet? Why do I have to try to unite people? Why do I have so many enemies and perturbers? What have I done? How do I resolve this problem? How do I resolve this issue? I don't need to understand it. I just want to resolve it. Now, two geoscientists from Princeton University have drawn a stronger link between the Deccan Traps and the KPG extinction, with the first high-resolution timeline for the eruptions that created India's Deccan Traps. The research appears in February's 22nd issue of Science. Yeah, I'm telling you, when it looked like I was set for doom, they weren't messing with me. And then, when I got close to my goal, holy crap, I had trouble with my computer. It took me hours to reset the whole damn thing. The two scientists, Blair Shona and Gerta Keller, both of the Princeton University, they led an international team for this study, which tried to date the different layers of the Deccan Traps more precisely than ever before. Yeah, I tried to perfect my dating techniques as well. Although, this 2019-2018 haven't exactly been great dating years for me. How about you? How's your dating life been? And I don't like you freaking out, toolbar. Can you stop doing that? You're giving me anxiety. I've already got enough anxiety. It's been a long day. Everyone has heard that the dinosaurs died from an asteroid hitting the Earth, said Schoen, an associate professor of geosciences. What many people don't realize is that there have been many other mass extinctions in the last 500 million years. Oh, yeah, I guess that's cool. And many of them coincide with the large volcanic outpourings. Well, okay. You better watch your verbiage. You might start freaking people out. From the massive volcanoes known as flood basalts are large ingenious provinces. If I said that word incorrectly, I did it for comedic effect. This is not the first time that the traps have been implicated in the KPG extinction, but the precision in this new study drives the point home. The effort to date geological formations is called geochronology. Geochronology. Geochronology uses inherent traits of the rocks themselves to find their age, usually relying on isotope ratios and radioactive decay to do so. Sweet. That's how we know it all. You know, radioactive isotopes. They don't lie. No radioisotopes ever lied, ever. Asterisk. The most famous geochronology technique, usually called carbon dating. How many carbon daters are there in the world? So like the one skit where you like, the one hidden camera skit I've ever wanted to do is when I go into like a Walmart or I go into like a Best Buy and I say, yeah, I'd like to buy a carbon dater. Do you have a home carbon dater? Do you know what aisle I'd find that on? Because I think it's funny. Everyone's like, yeah. We totally trust carbon dating. Like, well, like 3 people have it. It's like the Vatican, like the Merovingian, and then some guy in China. Only like 3 people have carbon daters. You know, it's not like one of those metal detectors you go on the beach looking for coins. So it's not like we can really verify how fast the isotopes have decayed. So we're just going to have to trust science. But carbon dating only works for living tissue that's a few thousand years old. Making it useful for archaeology, but not for 66-million-year-old basalt. And seriously, can you calm down, toolbar? For rocks around the time of the mass extinction, geoscientists had a few choices of naturally radioactive materials. Uranium-led geochronology yields very precise ages. But minerals containing uranium rarely occur in basalt. The rock that makes up the The lava flows for the Deccan Traps uranium-bearing zircon is another method of dating ancient rock, but it's more often found in explosive eruptions from Mount St. Helens-type volcanoes, which have a more silica-rich chemistry. With these dating restrictions in mind, man, I've got like nothing but dating restrictions. It's like I'm covered in a giant red cage, and if I even say I have a crush on X or this woman is pretty, I get in deep shit. Did I mention it is not the best time to be a white male? I'm not asking for sympathy. I'm just pointing out there that, like, I don't know if I want to be a dad and a good father. Set great examples, it would be tough. The deck would be stacked against me. That's okay. I'm a survivor, and sometimes I thrive, just not lately. They never anticipated that their first trip to the Deccan Traps would yield the results that it did. I wouldn't be surprised, though. So do you think it was like Planet X coming around and that's what's setting off all the volcanoes back in the day 66 million years ago? I don't think that any of us anticipated that our first trip to Deccan Traps would lead to this type of data set that we were able to produce, said Mike Eddy of the class of 2011, now a postdoctoral research associate in geosciences and a co-author of the science paper. But they got lucky. Well, lucky them. Who would have knew they went out to go dating and then they got lucky? There's almost a symmetry to it, isn't there? In their first few days at the Deccan Traps, the scientists gathered samples of what were called coarse-grained basalts. Basalt is like the fruit of the earth, a common type of volcanic rock on Earth. They were looking for samples containing uranium-bearing minerals. Because of the radioactive decay of uranium is one benchmark method of geochronology, at first they found none, because such rocks are rare in formations like Deccan Traps and more common in volcanic ash. But after a few days, they found that the type of silica rocks they were looking for. They found those things. They got lucky. It's always good when you get lucky. Because Bono was like, I still haven't found what I'm looking for. It's good to find what you're looking for. During our first week in India, we found a high silica ash bed between two basalt flows, and it got our gears turning, Eddie said. The researchers knew that silica-rich volcanic ash could easily contain the tiny zircon crystals that preserve radioactive uranium. The real breakthrough came a day or two later, when Blair realized that the fossil soils have also collected this type of ash in small amounts. So the team changed their focus. Instead, they searched for the ash deposits between the basalt flows, looking for the radioactive uranium inside zircon contained in the ash. All right, the toolbar's freaking me out. Can't handle it. Get it out of your face. The uranium makes the zircon, and hence the ash layers, easy to date. I wouldn't mind finding something easy to date. By dating the ash layers above and below a lava flow, they could more accurately date the lava itself. Dating lava, that sounds hot. And date of eruption. They're dating fools, man. It's like they got Tinder for volcanoes and scientists. The team spent 3 field seasons at the Deccan province and sent samples from 141 sites back to the lab at Princeton. 24 of the samples held what the team needed: uranium-bearing zircon crystals. Analysis of the samples showed that the Deccan Traps were created by 4 distinct eruption pulses, and each of those pulses spelled doom for the dinosaurs and for most of other life forms on the Earth at that time. Yeah, volcanoes can be a bad scene, man. Each time a volcano erupts, it changes the atmosphere. What? Wait a second. Did you guys just... I think you made a mistake. You admitted that each time a volcano erupts, it changes the atmosphere. Wow. The science we trip across here at Thor News. Enormous amounts of sulfur and carbon dioxide are spewed into the atmosphere from their long-term sequestration inside the rocks. The sulfur has a short-term cooling effect on the atmosphere, while the carbon dioxide has a long-term warming effect. The two combined can lead to wild climate swings. Hold on a second. The sulfur has a short-term cooling effect on the atmosphere, while the carbon dioxide has a long-term warming effect. The two combined can lead to wild climate swings. Crazy. What would that even be like, to be living in a time with wild weather and climate swings? Oh, they can lead to climate swings between warm and cold periods that make it really hard for life on Earth, said Schoen. But to know more clearly how these eruptions would have affected life on Earth, they had to have the timing right. But don't worry, because Isaac Newton assured us the world wouldn't end till 2054. He wasn't saying it would end then, he said it wouldn't end before then. So that's good news. A mass quantity of CO2 will have a very different effect if injected into the atmosphere in 100 years than if it took 1,000,000 years to be injected. Of the 4 eruption pulses that scientists identified, 2 of them took place before the mass extinctions. The second of these 2 began only tens of thousands of years before the Chicxulub impact, which is almost the same instant in geological terms. The first 2 pulses corresponded with a period of time where climate fluctuated from cold to hot to cold again. And many scientists think this indicated an initial disruption to the climate that may have contributed to the mass extinction event. Said Schoen, our data show that maybe second pulse could have played an important role in extinction itself because it happened right before. And I guess if they'd been telling us that volcanoes killed the dinosaurs, we'd have a different attitude about volcanoes. But who knows? They said asteroids kill the dinosaurs, and we don't really have an asteroid defense mentality outside of Asteroid Fight Club, of course. We're special. Deccan volcanism is the most likely cause of the dinosaur mass extinction. Whoa. The Chicxulub impact may have contributed to their demise, but the timing and environmental impacts and effects of this impact still remain to be determined. Hey, let's determine that shit. Another recent study published in the same issue of Science used a different method to date the Deccan Traps. It came up with different dates. See? None of this shit is consistent. This article is long. The study concluded that there were 4 distinctive volcanic pulses that the Princeton study identified, and that the greater of the 90% of the Deccan Traps volume erupted in less than 1,000,000 years ago. It also concluded that about 75% of it happened after the KPG extinction, and that the climate change at the end of the Cretaceous coincided with the smallest phases of eruptions at the Deccan Traps. If so, the Deccan Trap volcanism couldn't have caused the extinction. I guess we'll never know. And it was 66 million years ago, Other scientists aware of the nature of the impact versus volcano debate that this study is part of are more circumcised in their conclusions. Well, that's disturbing. The debate isn't over. Dun 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 dun. Hey, that sounds like good exit music. In general, does this thing ever end? I think this paper is significant and interesting, kind of like your face, said Pincelli Hull, an assistant professor of geology and geophysics at Yale, who's not involved in the research and who has argued against the role of the volcano in the mass extinction. The paper is a huge advance in the timing of the Deccan Trap eruptions, but how that relates to the timing of outgassing is still a major question that needs to be resolved to figure out exactly where the relevant roles in volcanism and impact were. It's seldom that one study in a long line of studies puts a scientific debate to bed. So you got dating, scoring, getting lucky, and going to bed. I'm old enough to remember that shit. This one's no different. Science progresses as scientists get better at measuring things. Awkward pause, and at thinking about them, this won't end the debate. It may be that it took a 1-2 punch to cause the KPG extinction. The dinosaurs may have been knocked down by the Chicxulub impact, and on their way back up, then knocked down again for good by the volcanoes. Or it may be more complex than that. No way. X-Men. 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 X-Men women? Holy shit, does this thing never end? Oh, it's over. A 2016 shows that dinosaur species were already going extinct millions of years before the KPG extinction, and that the new species weren't appearing to replace them. And I always think it's weird, why did the Earth stop making dinosaurs and start making people? At the same time, mammal species weren't becoming more varied and maybe better positioned to adapt to changes caused by volcanic activity and the Chicxulub impact. Maybe, evolutionarily, the dinosaurs had run their course and the impact and the volcanoes were just the exclamation point. And maybe we'll never know for sure. Okay, great. This wraps up another volcano, dinosaur, asteroid episode. And if you want Thor News to continue to survive and thrive, contributions would be highly appreciated to my PayPal link. We got 11 hours left, 80 to 100 bucks to go. I got faith. You guys are always awesome. I super appreciate you guys. You guys are fantastic. Thanks for being here with me on this wild journey. Can't believe I'm still alive. Can't believe we're still going at it. I can't believe hope still lives. Yeah, I guess I can. Okay, everybody stay cool, and I will talk to you guys soon.